Welcome back to ChemHelp ASAP. In this video we'll talk about the Octet Rule. This will be just a very quick introduction, and I hope it's a review for you as you probably learned it more thoroughly in your general chemistry class. Now, as we talk about the Octet Rule, what is the Octet Rule? Well, the Octet Rule is based off the idea that second row elements and when I say second row, I am talking about down here, the second row. We're going to emphasize, this really applies to all the elements on the second row, but we're going to really begin our discussion with carbon. Lithium, beryllium, boron, they very often follow slightly different rules. But for carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and fluorine, which are really common organic elements, we will find that these, as second row or second period elements, these can have at most 8 electrons in the valence shell. And let's not forget the word in. Okay, so now what do you mean? Carbon, as shown, is in group 4, Roman numeral 4, so therefore it has 4 valence electrons as an atom. But we'll find that atoms don't exist floating around in atoms very much. They actually combine and they react. And as they react, they start to share these electrons and interchange these electrons. And part of the goal of these chemical reactions is to fill up the valence shell. So for second row elements, like down here on the second row of the periodic table, specifically we're talking about carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and fluorine, when they undergo chemical reactions, they try to fill up their valence shell, get 8 electrons in their valence shell. Now, what's so special about 8 electrons? Well, in the second shell, we have 4 different orbitals. We have the 2s, we have the 2px, we have the 2py, and the 2pz. These are the orbitals that hold the electrons in the shell. So these are orbitals, and there's a rule in chemistry that you can have 2 electrons per orbital. Well, if you have 4 orbitals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 electrons per orbital, that leads to a maximum number of electrons in the valence as 8 electrons max in the valence. And we're talking specifically about second row elements, so we're talking about shell 2. Now, the Octet Rule has implications in other rows as well, but it's less of a rule and more of a guideline. Fortunately, we work almost exclusively in the second row, and so the Octet Rule is truly a rule, and we will find that elements do hold fast to this Octet Rule. At most, 8 electrons in the valence shell of atoms that are combined into molecules, have reacted into molecules.